Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sam, and today we'll be talking about my reading goals for 2022. I know it's been a real rough couple years for everybody, and while I'm still a bit cautious about stepping into the new year, I'm trying to be hopeful as well. I've been in quite a bit of a reading slump since the pandemic started, and because reading is so much part of my self-care, I've also been in a bit of a mental slump as well. So one of my first goals for the year 2022 is to read more for pleasure. I want to wholeheartedly dive back into books that I didn't finish when I was a teenager, or books that I completely avoided because they were dubbed cheesy. I also just want to read more fantastical feel-good stories in general. Books that have a softer magic and a more whimsical feel to it have always held a deep place in my spot, and I'm looking to read more things that make me feel good. And I think kicking off the new year in this way will help me read more in general. Now, a good fantasy story is obviously my comfort read, and what I'm hoping will take me in the right direction throughout the rest of the year. However, I also want to expand my horizons and read more books in genres I usually don't read. One of the genres I read the least has to be horror. Not to say I don't love a good scary story. However, I tend to read these so little that sometimes I don't even read a single horror book in a year. And I just know that I am missing out on some great literature by just neglecting the genre. So my second goal of this year is to read more horror novels. If you have any recommendations, please leave a comment below. Usually I'm more into the supernatural books, or at least something that involves the occult. However, back in October, I did just review the book Lockdown, which is the exact opposite of anything that I thought I would ever enjoy. So, any recommendations at all for good upcoming horror books? Leave them down below and I'll check them out. I'm pairing my second goal of the year right along with my third, and that would be to read more classics. Just like with horror, I usually don't read a lot of classics. In fact, I have actively avoided them in the past. When we were assigned certain books at school, I would literally get my information from SparkNotes and bullshit an entire essay. And I was good at it too. I always got A's. However, now I regret not taking the time to actually read those stories, because now I want to go back and read them for the merit of the book when I could have just done that to begin with. So I'm thinking of doing this thing where I read one horror book and one classic a month that share a common theme, and compare and contrast the writing styles. Now, I'm not sure exactly when I'll do this because I've had a lot on my plate, both online and offline, but this is something I'm very interested in doing. So if you'd like me to do a little compare-contrast video, even if it's not every month, let me know down below if you have interest in viewing something like that. I may just add one more thing to my roster, but let's see if we can get these reading goals kicked off right. Lastly, I'd really like to complete a rough draft of a book. For the past couple years, I've had a few ideas that I've been kind of toying around with, and I think that it's time to finally get those ideas on paper. I'd like to take part in NaNoWriMo this year, so I'll be plotting one of my stories for that and participating in NaNoWriMo. However, I do have a more complex story, so my goal for that is to do daily writings throughout the next year, and hopefully I'll get a draft for that as well. By the end of the year, I'm hoping to have at least 2 rough drafts, but worst comes to worst, either I'll complete something in NaNoWriMo or I'll complete a rough draft of my more complex story over the year. Regardless, my end goal is to have one rough draft of a story by the end of the year, and I think that's realistic. Well, that's all I've got for you guys today. Let me know what your reading goals are. Are they pretty similar to mine or completely different? I'd love to hear them. If you'd like this video, please like and subscribe. Otherwise, all my social media will be down in the description, and I'll see you guys next week for more shenanigans.